another edition of TNT. Sounds
Sounds
like
like dynamite
because
because
it
it is.
is.
Boom.
Boom, baby, boom. I am Tabatha Pittman with my lovely co-host.
Hello, beautiful. This is Tara Isaac.
Yes. Okay, today we are talking and we're going to have some fun, y'all. So prepare
Oh, yeah.
yourselves for the ride. All
It's
right.
it's gonna be a ride.
Yeah, it's going to be a ride, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to get right into it. So today's topic is authenticity. And Tara and I have been known to be maybe a little bit off the beaten path and that we like to make our own footprints in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
So, or as Robert Frost would say, choosing the path less uh, walked, trodden, taken. Yeah, the fork in the road.
Yeah, we take it all.
All of those.
And then on top of that, we're gonna make our path.
That's right.
That's the authenticity.
That is.
Yeah.
I think that's the authentic. That's really the genuineness of it all. Is that we make our own footprints in the sand. We make our own. We're trailblazers.
Yes, amen. That's it.
And I think that in order to be authentic,
Mhm.
you have to be that person who says, you know what, I'm going to stay true to my core values,
Mhm.
and I don't have to um, reinvent the wheel to be true to me.
Right. Right.
So I think that's so important. I think that's relevant for everyone.
Everyone, absolutely. And you hit it right on the head. You got that fork in the road. Well, you know what? Maybe you don't have to fit that mold. Here's a path for you.
That's right.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. And so I think that, one of the things about being authentic is that you are not shrinking away from who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't apologize for being Tara.
Right. I'm not trying to be, for example, I'm not trying to be my sisters. I won't be
Right.
successful if I'm my sisters.
Right. That's right.
I have to be me. My sisters' personalities work for them,
That's right.
and people know me for me. And if I try to be, like, for example, if I try to be like my sister Lena, who's loud and outgoing, and you can hear her 10 miles away, people will think I'm a mean person, but somehow that works for her and they love it.
That's right.
So you have to be authentic to you.
That's right.
You can be inspired and motivated and learn
True.
to help you on your path. And I think that's important too. We learn, we absorb from everybody and
Yeah.
take the best out of everybody, and you find your own way
That's right.
for your own authenticity.
Yeah. I guess I kind of liken it to like a recipe, right?
Yes.
There are some recipes that you have to stick to it. Like I believe baking is one of those things that's kind of more like an exact science. But if you're making spaghetti, right?
Mm.
You decide if you want more fennel, if you want more, parsley, if you want more oregano, whatever it is in there that makes it true to your taste buds.
Mm.
You make it work for you. Do you like your pasta more al dente or, whatever that is?
Even the noodles.
Yeah,
You like the angel hair, or do you like the spaghetti,
that's
or
right.
the farfalle? I can't think of all.
Or fettuccine,
Yeah.
like what?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know
But,
the.
hey, look, we can talk food, y'all.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get some. Make some takeout orders.
Ooh, yeah, that's what you can do, honey. Look,
I'll be
I'm
right
here
back.
for it. Okay, we'll talk about intermittent fasting another day. But I believe that you have to make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make this dish your own. Like my mom, best spaghetti. But what I realized, especially as a mom myself now, is that I don't want all of mine mixed up.
Yeah.
I like to have my noodles over here kind of separate, buttered, and ready because one of my kids likes it really saucy and one of them doesn't.
You know what's so funny? You just described my mom and my sister Lena. So my mom is like your mom. She'll mix it all together.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Lena, no, noodles separate,
Mm-hmm.
sauce separate.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to heat up the noodles? We'll do it.
What an atrocity!
Yeah. But that's so cute. But that's exactly it. You're
Yeah.
making it your way.
Your way, and you can keep the same
Yeah.
recipe, right? Mama's recipe is still Mama's recipe, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna keep that sauce,
Mhm.
and that's gonna hold true for that. But then when it comes to how I mix the noodles or what I do with or which noodle I choose,
Yes. Yeah.
I even heard one of my friends the other day. She was saying that she was going to make chicken Alfredo
Mm.
like she makes lasagna. And I was like, Hmm. That's different. That sounded different to me. I
You
never
know,
heard of that.
I like that because my nephew loves Alfredo, chicken Alfredo, and we've been to a couple of restaurants and I've seen him literally dip his spoon because it's too watery. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you do it like that,
Mm-hmm.
or if she's baking it, problem solved.
Problem solved.
Mm,
I've never done that, but it just gave
yeah.
me a different take on it, right? Because
I'm getting
I would
hungry.
have
Yeah.
exactly. But that's her being true to her, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
saying, I like lasagna, but I like chicken alfredo with those types of noodles. And she was like, and it's a three ingredient meal. And I was like, three ingredients? Like, how did you do that? Like, because when I think Alfredo, I
Mhm.
think, oh goodness, I have to go and I have to make the Alfredo. And the way she explained it, she was like, I'm going to use the no bake or no boil noodles. I'm going to put
Mhm.
them right in the oven and I'm gonna put the
Nice.
chicken and
I
the
like that.
cheese over it and do, and I'm done. I'm like, but that was her being true to her.
Mhm.
I never would have thought. Now, I might take a variation of that and apply it to my life, right?
Yeah.
Just like I tell you all the time. Every time I see Tara, I want to let y'all know this girl's highlights are just. I, what's her name again that does your highlights? Shout
Oh,
out,
Kara.
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 Girl, you did that. Okay. And so shout out to
Kara.
Kara over in what is that? Royal Oak, Troy,
Oh no, she's in Birmingham. The
Birmingham.
Beauty Collective.
Done.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
Yep,
Shout
she's
out to the Beauty Collective. Who is just collecting the highlights and all of the sunlight when it hits Tara's hair from each and every angle. I'm like,
Thank
oh
you.
my goodness, I want some
I
highlights.
parted it this way for you today so you could see
I
because when
see.
you can see more highlights this way. Now when I flip it to the left,
Oh,
my
girl. Oh, it's
my
all
hair
about
to
the
the
flip.
left.
Wait a minute. It's all about the flip. In case y'all ain't know, it's all about that flip, baby. Flip.
You
Okay.
know, I used to hate windy weather, but now it's like, oh, come on, I need some windy weather. I need some
Yeah.
theatrics.
Okay. Natural theatrics.
But I'm dying to know, going back to the food, because,
Mm-hmm.
food,
Mm-hmm.
if I had to choose between food and highlights,
Mm.
that,
Wait.
that's tough. That is tough.
I almost choked on my tea, y'all. Wait, this baby just said she had to choose between highlights and food. Okay, which one you gonna choose?
Oh, I guess food for now.
Food? Okay, well, good. Yeah, we
Yeah.
might be able because
Yeah.
look, I've made it through a pandemic without getting highlights, and so I just want to say that it's gonna be the food for me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the food for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Food.
But okay, so one of the things that I think that women and men need to embody with their authenticity is that we have to stay true to who we are. I think some of the challenges, we've been in corporate America for a long time. Some of the challenges come when we're in environments where it is easier to assimilate, right? Because America is known as this melting pot,
Mhm.
right? And so instead of you staying true to who you are and being authentic, now your flavor has blended with everybody else's. And now you start to look like, taste like, sound like everyone else, right? Because
Mhm.
you're in this melting pot. Whereas, one of the things that we talked about when I was in undergrad was being part of a salad, like having the assimilated version of the salad, right? The tomato still tastes like the tomato.
Mhm.
The dressing is still the dressing. So, what's your take on authenticity in the workplace? How do we navigate that?
That is, that is such a great question, Tabitha. And with your expertise, this is always it's mind-boggling because we're taught, don't do this, don't do that.
Mhm.
You're signing all these forms, code of
Mhm.
conduct, behaviors,
Mhm.
and whatnot. So right from even before you even walk in, you're
Yes.
being molded,
Mhm.
you know, and you should be celebrated. Of
Mhm.
course, there are
Mhm.
guidelines,
Mhm.
and I think sure those are a given,
Right?
but maybe someone looks at something differently and that might be the game changer. Maybe that perspective might increase revenue, might increase your competitive space.
I think that's a great idea. It's a
So
great concept.
one thing, I just remember I was one time listening to the radio when I used to take my dad down to the casinos and we listened to radios and I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, but it was this company where these guys, I think were inventing dishwasher soap or detergent or something,
Mhm.
and they were they were focused on the packaging.
Oh,
How do we stand out? And the
yeah.
guy literally just turned it upside down. And I love that. because that was perspective, just change the
Mhm.
perspective.
Mhm.
And I thought, wow, how brilliant and simple is that? So, yeah, in the workplace, yeah, sure, we have rules, but
Right.
celebrate people's individuality
Yes.
because they might have that idea or that perspective to say, hey, well, look, this is what I know.
Mhm.
And, you've got to entertain all these ideas because it's only growth.
That's right.
It's only growth.
So I think that kind of is what we were supposed to gather when we said diversity and inclusion,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that's what corporate America, for me being background in human resources,
Yeah.
I think that's what we were trying to do. But I think that it became so regulated and so rule bound and stricken
Mm-hmm.
that the growth stunted, right? Now, there are some cultures, work cultures, that
Mm-hmm.
is, that actually embody and empower celebrating, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a song called Celebrate More.
Mm.
Um, and even I've got kids in school, and the teachers are celebrating the diversity of the holidays, right? And they're not saying one way is right, they're not pushing it on the children, they're just saying this is Diwali,
Mm-hmm.
this is this holiday and that holiday, and this culture celebrates XYZ, and that's why your fellow student
Mm-hmm.
is dressed in this particular garb. And so I think that is another part of how we embody that diversity in the workplace is that we start celebrating more and saying, "Hey, I want you to be your true self." You may be able to recall when we were working together in
Mm-hmm.
corporate how they used to have the celebrations of some of the because we had a large Indian population,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they would celebrate the
Diwali, like you said,
Diwali
yeah.
and the Festival of Lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to have them bring on all the different foods and different people be able to sample some of their traditional things,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one way that we get back to and really try to impress upon people more. Um, One of the things I came up with an acronym for
Mm.
this.
Okay.
So on that note, we're going to go ahead and reverse the curse. Okay, so here's my acronym for us celebrating more of the authenticity in people. I think if we do things with love and explanation, right, or an education, so we're teaching people why things are the way they are with each other, and then a dialogue. So LED, I
Mm.
think LED will help us to turn the lights on for understanding people's authenticity, giving them a lighted pathway to say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay for you to be you. Yes, we have boundaries because this is how we have to operate
Right.
in
Yeah.
order to progress at this corporate place
Sure.
or even in the friendship, right? Like you shared some things with me, and I was like, oh my God, I've known you for years. I didn't know that, and we'll talk about that next month
Yeah.
when we talk about men for the Father's Day and stuff like that. But it just blew me away. But when I sat there with a loving and open heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was then educated and able to participate in a dialogue that caused growth, right? And so I think that is one of the ways that employers, as well as even friends who, like, because we are all in this thing together.
Yeah.
So the more we celebrate this authenticity, the more we're able to say, okay, I can understand why you do what you do now. I can understand where you come from, and those things make you authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very deep, and there's so much to that LED. I love it.
Mhm.
Um,
I'm
and
gonna have to trademark that, Tara.
yes, you do.
Hey, Tara's my girl. She's always like, you better trademark that.
Yeah. You gotta. I'll tell you what. I learned the poor man's trademark. Put it in an envelope. Mail it to yourself. Don't open that envelope.
Oh, what?
Yeah. That's what they told me.
Shut the front door and go out the
Mm.
back. Okay.
Is that
Trademark,
is
child.
that double doors, French doors?
Okay. Oui, oui.
You know?
Bonjour, bonjour.
Oh.
I love this girl, y'all, for real.
We go there. But I love it. That's the beauty of it. Listening to people and it's love. What is life about? Love and patience and
Mhm.
hearing one another, because we don't know what people have been through,
That's right.
and that's what's the heartbreaker in all of this, when you think about things that have happened and tragedies, and you may see what's perceived as a bad person, but then when
Mhm.
you hear about the life of that
Oh
person,
yeah.
it's like, oh man, you just want to, it's too late. You just want to hug that person
Mhm.
and give that person that love.
Compassion, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's exactly what it is. I think that our compassion has to give way to people being comfortable to be authentic,
Yeah.
because I may not agree with someone. I remember, so for those of you who are listening, I grew up in the Metro Columbus area. And in the late 90s, early 2000s, with everything that was going on in Somalia,
Mm.
there was a large influx of Somalians into this area. And in my mind, I was like, oh my goodness, what? It's so hot outside. And they would be fully dressed. I had not been, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but I had not been educated a lot in their culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the more I came into contact with them, I, started having conversations. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is why. I didn't understand everything that was going
Mm-hmm.
on with the wars and a lot of people fleeing, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, and so not only was it religious, right? But
Yeah.
this was a way for them to protect themselves. And, there are a lot of things that went into their identity, right? And so I think that also becomes a part of the authentic conversation,
Mm-hmm.
is that you embrace your identity. You embrace the fact that I'm African American. You know what? My family's from Alabama. A lot of people don't like the term African American. I'm black, whatever you want to, whichever one of those terms fits appropriately for you. But
I see a beautiful woman.
and that's at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
With a
what you
lot of heart, caring heart. That's
thank
that's
you, sis.
to me. When I see people, I see their eyes, I see their heart.
Yes, yes. And I think that's where we have to
Yeah.
get to, right? That it doesn't matter where I came from. I know who I am,
Yeah.
but I embrace what we have in common. We're both beautiful women. We're both women who are compassionate and caring, and we wear our heart on our sleeves, and will share what God has blessed us with anyone who needs it,
Mm-hmm.
and then some people who just are there, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that people know, hey, we're truly who we say we are.
Mm-hmm.
um Not just by what you see in this physical aspect, but because we have a pure heart
Mm-hmm.
to help people.
That's it. Pure heart.
Yep. It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
So authenticity is is our thing. So just be who you are.
Yeah.
Embrace that. Embrace all the things that come with being who you are, and don't shrink back from that. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. Like when we're having these conversations,
Yeah.
just you know what, hey, and just because you don't understand something or someone, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
Ask some of the hard questions, so that then again you can open yourself
Mm-hmm.
to the education and the dialogue.
Right.
Pivotal to understanding who people are, why they are, right? We can talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the many things going on in our country right now. But I think what's really important at the end of the day is that we still come back to these neighborly things. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
this is for
I'm sorry. I'm
my
just enjoying you talk and listen. I'm just so enthralled by it all.
well, I one of my neighbors,
Mhm.
Marie, if you're listening, um,
Hello,
I
Maria.
know Marie, she's such a beautiful person. I mean, this girl. Anyway, so we'll have her on one night. Um, but one day she sent me a text message. It was so funny because she was like, "Hey, I have a neighborly request," and so I'm looking, and just as I was making out my grocery list, she had asked if she could borrow some eggs, and I just thought, "Oh my God, how loving is that?" Like
Did
that.
you charge her?
First, I
Oh, I'm
didn't have
sorry.
any eggs.
It's like, oh, the
We
gangster
were
accountant.
both that's the gangster accountant. See, y'all, she counting pennies. The bottom line matters to her. If you're looking for an accountant to help you with your nonprofit, to help you with consulting work, you need to contact Tara Isaac. She's on LinkedIn, by the way. Okay. That
That's
was
so
my
sweet.
public service announcement. And she does do consulting work. Now, I won't say it's pro bono because she is an accountant. Okay. Um, Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Eggs. Authentic
Eggs.
eggs.
So she had asked for eggs. Ironically, I was making out my grocery list because I was out of eggs. And I was like, oh my goodness. So she was about to
Where are the
bake.
chickens?
Exactly, honey. I don't know. I felt like there was some type of shortage. And I had gone to, because I've been ordering a lot of stuff just online and going and picking
Yeah.
stuff up. But I said, oh my goodness, Marie, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I love the bacon. I don't have not one egg to even loan you. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And so we're like both cracking up
Uh,
over the text messages or whatever. But the point is that, she felt comfortable enough to say to her neighbor, and it felt like a 50s type of text, right?
mhm.
Where your mama would send you next door to say, my mom said, do you have a cup of sugar that we could borrow or something? Like I was like, oh, that was so sweet though, because here people are still saying, you've showed up authentically in my life. And I trust, because I think that's another thing that authenticity gives way to is trust.
Yeah.
I trust that I can ask you for something, and you not look down on me or down at me or however that goes. So,
No. We lift each other up.
mhm.
Yeah. No. That's. It reminds me of my sister and her neighbors. They're back and forth with. Someone will have a pot that she can, cook an extra dish, or someone
Mhm.
has a gardening tool, and it's that sense of community, and it builds. It just
Yeah.
builds upon that and grows.
Yeah. I think that's a really
Yeah.
big part of that too, like the community, right?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that, like when I'm thinking about my neighbors, you know, two or three houses each way, I know their names. Um, and that's a good feeling considering it's 2021 and we're in a pandemic and all
Yeah.
those things, right?
Yeah.
But we still know each other's name enough to say, hey, do you know where we could get XYZ? Or we have a lot of the same contractors, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That come and do work, or hey, yeah, I'm like, hey, who did your potting, who did your landscaping? Oh, so and so did. So we're just kind of keep passing this person
Yeah.
around through the neighborhood.
Yep.
And yeah, but I think authenticity gives way to the community aspect as well,
Mhm.
so I think we have to keep that in mind, that we're uplifting each other by still remaining true to self,
Mhm.
but also saying my truest, highest, best self helps other people, right? Because I'm comfortable, and then maybe that's Maslow's hierarchy, where we say, hey, you know what? My basic needs are filled because I know who I am, and I'm getting to the point of self actualization, right? And
Mhm.
so, because I don't have to be concerned about if I got eggs, um, or any of those basic needs, and so
Mhm.
now I can care for Tara, you know. And so now I can make sure that I'm giving back. Now I can do community service or
Right.
whatever the thing is, right? But I think we have to talk about
Authentic
that.
self. You know what I love about that is when you were talking, uh, and life is so short and there's so much to take us down and bring us
Mhm.
down. We just have to keep our spirits up and keep going.
Mhm.
We just have to keep going through this thing of life, and authentic self is important. But I was thinking about, I love when I watch older people dance.
Mhm.
You know, there's no hesitation. They will go out on the dance
Tell me
floor.
about it. Yeah.
They're free, and that's the most beautiful. And to me, some of my favorite dancing I've seen is with older people
Mhm.
because they've lived their life.
Yeah.
They're being authentic.
Oh yeah.
They're doing some moves,
That we may not have the courage to do.
right? Maybe not now, but oh man, and they're just it's it's just beautiful watching them. You know?
I think that's such a joy to see, like that people are truly still enjoying life.
Yeah.
And I think authenticity, when you're being authentic to yourself, genuine and true to you. Um, I have an old friend named Angelique. She used to always say, "To thine own self be true."
Mm.
And I was like, wow, like when you're just true, like you can live without inhibitions,
Right.
right? You
Yeah.
can live without, because you're comfortable in the skin you're in.
Mhm.
You can say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go on this dance floor and
Mm.
cut a rug or
Mhm.
whatever the older people say. But
I don't know.
we're going to live to tell you guys,
Yeah.
just keep
We'll listen.
listening.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah. We'll cut a rug.
cut a
We'll,
rug,
yeah,
all the things.
all those things. Yes.
All the things. So I think, one of the things that I also feel like I guess maybe from a religious standpoint is that Jesus was always true to himself.
Yeah, he was bullied and mocked, but still
Hmm.
was true.
He was always true. Even when there were times when he was angry.
Tell it, tell it,
He
sister.
was
Tell
still
it.
true to himself
Yeah.
when he went into the temple and he kicked over the tables. He was still being true to himself. He was still saying, you know what? I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how this isn't okay with my father, and he stayed true to what his assignment was.
Mm.
And that part.
Whew, that's some heavy stuff. Yes.
So I think that's another reason why it's so important for us to stay true on what our assignment is. We come into the studio, we come and we're dressed. You should see this girl. Look, y'all, she got on these tortoise buttons on her little jacket. Can y'all see her the way I can see her? Girl, show them your
Oh,
buttons,
touch it,
child.
touch it.
Show them your buttons, honey. Yes. This girl comes in here, and if you guys could just see how she coordinates, I'm telling you, one of these episodes is going to be on fashion so that Tara can get everyone's edges and weaves and wigs together and highlights, child. Okay.
We'll do it all.
Snatch your brows or whatever needs to be snatched.
We'll
She'll
cover
get
all
you together.
beauty
Okay,
solutions.
all the beauty solutions. But she effortlessly puts things together, but it's still very true to who she is. It's like, okay, wow, okay, like I love to embody like that 70s kind of
Oh, you look beautiful. You just
flair with my little.
Malibu. You are just Malibu. I just see you on the ocean right now with the wind blowing through your hair, and you look stunning.
I'm gonna get to California.
Mhm.
I don't know when, but I'm going to California. I'm going back to Cali. Cali.
Oh,
I don't think so.
I think so. I think you're going.
I think I'm going, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
That
but
is
I'm
that's
going.
on my playlist.
It's
by
on
the
my
way.
bucket list. Oh yeah, I was about to say we're gonna have to put that in here somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where we're saying, down to your dress code.
Mhm.
Like I Joe took a picture of us last week
Mhm.
and I posted it online. Somebody was like, "Oh my goodness, you have on tennis shoes? You own tennis shoes?" And I'm like, "Well,
Surprise. Did you tell them they were pink? They
I was
weren't just
like,
tennis
yes,
shoes. They
they
were
were
pink.
they were pink tennis shoes, okay? But I was like, yeah, I guess I mean I could have taken a picture with some heels on, but I had on leggings. I'm not wearing red bottoms with leggings, y'all. Now don't hold me to it
That
because
was
you
a
might
look.
catch me.
That was a look. I remember when people wore like,
It used to be, wasn't
yeah,
it?
was it the 80s or not?
80s, 90s?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not that old, so I don't know
No,
how.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. I don't,
Tabitha's a baby.
I don't know how.
This is
we
more
just,
my category.
look. I don't know how I just came up with that, but with your hair sprayed up with your bangs like super high, you had to have the hairspray.
Oof.
Your bangs had to be, well, my hair is flat iron today, so it's not going to look right, but you had to have your
think-
bangs sprayed high.
Yeah.
Lots of hairspray.
Oh man. Yeah. You know,
Some
I'd be
bright
interested-
leggings.
Yeah.
With a t-shirt that had like the splashes on it. Looked like somebody just threw like 10 cans of paint at your t-shirt with the neon pink leggings
Yeah.
and the yellow heels. Kind of like the not Oprah, Whitney Houston look.
You know, God rest her soul.
I know, right?
Yeah. God
Man.
rest her soul.
That girl had some bright ideas.
Yeah. I still remember. I think the first time I saw her, I think it was a music video.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember it. It's a pink and black bodysuit.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Was it Dance with Somebody?
And no, she looked. I remember her hair doing that. It was curly.
Curly.
That's how,
Mhm.
you know what? God rest her soul.
She had a song called "I Want to Dance with Somebody."
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the song from back then.
I remember
but
going to the festivals and that song come on. The couples go on. The girls be all dance. Yeah, I want to dance. Oh my God.
that part. See, that's the part where we get to embody like all the fun things. But look how authentic. Like if we're just gonna switch gears a little bit.
Mhm.
Look how authentic she was to herself. Like she came out of the gate like not trying to be like an Aretha, not trying to be like any other celebrity. She
Yeah.
was just going to be her
Original.
original, you know? And even Janet, for that
Yeah.
matter. We think about people like that who she came from a whole, just like Whitney, came from families of musicians and artists and
Yeah.
still were authentic to themselves. It would have been easy for them to be like, for Whitney to be like her Aunt Dion or her
Yeah.
mother, right? Or for Janet to be like Michael or
Yeah.
Tito and them.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's they. I mean, the world knows your family. How do you
Hmm.
carve your own path?
That's what gives leeway to authenticity,
Yeah.
I think. Like, and I don't think that's something that we figure out overnight.
No, no. I think we build our confidence,
Hmm.
and that's the key thing too. And we're going on that path.
Talk about that some more. Because I think confidence is so important to that. It's a very important ingredient
Right.
to
Right.
your authenticity.
Yeah. I keep thinking about me back in school. I was just ready to go to work. And my grades weren't the best. And like in elementary school, my reading level was high. I could
Hmm.
I could I could read at high school level, but
That's
my grades weren't all that. Life and things happen.
awesome.
That's a whole other topic. But that business club, when I competed,
Hmm.
and here we are again talking about paths and
Hmm.
molds.
Hmm.
People trying to measure you and
Right.
categorize you, quantify you. This is how life works. Do this, do that,
Right.
and it wasn't working for me. And then this business club thing came along, and against all odds and everyone's perceived expectations of me,
Hmm.
I succeeded with that. And that, when I did good, that built my confidence. Now
Oh
it's
yeah.
funny because I remember when I first went into the room to compete, and basically what you're doing, you're presenting the idea. You're given it's called the competition was called Entrepreneur Individual. You're
Hmm.
given a business and some questions, and you have to come up with a solution for it. And I remember walking into the room, and I'll forget one of the judges said, "Don't worry, we're not going to eat you." So they probably saw the fear and
Right.
terror in my face. 'Cause here I
Yes.
am. Oh my gosh, they're going to judge me and do this and that. And,
Right.
and he said that, and it just kind of took the edge off. So I did my thing, and that's when I placed
Hmm.
and placed at the state level and went on to
Right.
nationals. But that built confidence because what was unique? I put the hard work into it.
Right.
I was planning and working hard every day. I
Hmm.
was reading books to help me, figure out business ideas
Hmm.
and solutions and problem with the Minneapolis business.
Right.
Here's what so I'm gonna research that area, learn more about it. So,
Wow.
things it just built your confidence, and then you just gain momentum, kind of like exercise. You know what?
Hmm.
Hey, I'm walking on the treadmill. My dress is fitting a little loose. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
I like that.
I
That's
like
right.
that. I'm getting my arms worked out. I'm seeing some definition.
Hmm. Hmm.
You keep building on that. And then sometimes we plateau, but then we change it up.
That's
We
right.
keep stretching and growing.
That's right.
And it's continuous.
I love that.
That's the one big thing too, Tabitha, Sometimes we achieve success and then we let it go.
Hmm.
We just have to keep it going.
Hmm.
That's something I have learned. But little successes, build upon that and keep growing and keep putting the work into it.
And that builds your confidence.
That builds the confidence. That leads to you developing your authenticity, being stronger in who you are in this world where, my gosh, we see everything and all different types of personalities and
Hmm.
looks and this
Hmm.
and that.
Hmm.
Here's how you make your way,
That's right.
you know?
Here's how you
And
show up.
people will notice you and people will
Hmm.
love that. People love that. You just kind of like going back to the dance. Everybody else gets on that dance
That's
floor.
right.
Wait a minute, I'm going to.
Wait,
I'm
I'm not
gonna
gonna let them show me up. Wait, I can
watch
dance
me do my
too.
Janet Jackson.
Right. Yikes. Nobody wants to see me do that. Okay. But I love that because I think stuff like that is the hard work, right?
Yeah.
And staying dedicated, even when you say, okay, you know what, this is something that I've never done before. I've never done a podcast before,
Yeah.
but I talk to my girl Tara and we have great conversations.
You're a natural.
And
You
so
need to have
so
a TV
here
show.
I
Oh,
do.
you do?
I love this girl, y'all.
Oh, I love you. You are a gift.
But it's easy, right?
Mhm.
When we say, okay, well, let's build on the strengths of things that we do have.
Yeah.
We have great conversations, and wouldn't it be awesome to bring other people into these great natural conversations that we have and have been having for years
Yeah.
about authenticity, about confidence, and how if you just keep working at what you keep putting in the work, right? You become more confident. And once you become more confident, you are not afraid or ashamed to show up more authentic.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You know your subject. You've been
Yeah,
working hard at it.
that's right.
Then you consult on it.
That part. Because then that's the other part. You say, okay, you know what? I'm really good at the business stuff, right? I've studied hard. I researched. I did all the things. And that's what you do. You go
Mhm.
in and you say, hey, Tabitha, you know what? I saw this in the Forbes magazine. I saw this in Business Weekly and all of these things. And I did XYZ research and read these white papers on whatever. And you come back and you can formulate an idea of your own by piecing together the things that you've studied to build
Mhm.
your confidence. And now when you go present yourself before, your boss, you can say, "Hey, I'm confidently standing before you and this is how I can do it. I know I'm confident that I can put this together and see some results because now you're not ashamed of who you are, you know what?
Mhm.
And they may not have read everything or done all the work because they're relying on you to do that. That's why they hired you. That's why they brought your talent in, right?
Mhm.
And they trust you because they know she keeps showing up. She keeps staying late. This is her authentic self, right? She's been
Mhm.
here for 3 years and she's still coming in early and staying late or whatever the case, right?
Yep.
And so this is why we trust her ability. This is why we trust her talents. And so I think that people have to embody that also as part of that confidence. And you say, I'm confident, I'm authentic, I'm going to be true to me.
Mhm.
And, for me, that's always been talking, that's always been encouraging people. And so it's like, okay, let's just keep showing up true. Let's
Yes.
not be ashamed of who we are. We
Yep.
know who we are because we've confidently walked this walk for a few decades now. Just a few.
Yes. Oh yeah.
One or two. No, maybe more than two. Okay.
Okay.
Well, however long we've been
Authentic self.
authentic,
Authentic
okay.
self.
All right. Guess I have to be my authentic self then, y'all. But I think this is so important. It's really important that we have these conversations, that we empower people to keep showing up as
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing,
Yes.
and hey, maybe the latest trend is the mini skirt,
Mhm.
but maybe you don't look good in a mini skirt. Find out what your authentic self looks good
Mhm.
in and wear that.
Exactly. Learn. Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing. You have to learn. This is the process. You know what works for you.
Hmm.
It's funny you say mini skirts because I don't like mini skirts
You
for me.
don't?
I mean, if I
I
do,
used to.
I love. I'll wear them with leggings or something
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
I can play it off that way.
Right.
Because my legs are big. I've skated and done stuff. Now my mom's legs, they're nice and thin. She can rock a skirt. My sisters, they can rock it. Except my older sister, but we won't tell her.
Okay. All right.
No, no, no.
Done.
But that's a great point.
Hmm.
If this is what's trendy, it may not work for you. You don't
Hmm.
figure out something, flip it around, do something
That's
different.
right.
Then you make your own
You
trend.
make your own trend.
Yes,
You're the trailblazer. You're the pioneer. You don't have to
exactly.
follow every trend. Or you can take that trend and remix it,
Mm-hmm.
rewind it, and just do what it does, right? Where you
Right.
say, you know what?
There
That
you
part.
go.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to remix the trend. We're going to make it work for us
Mm-hmm.
and still show up authentic.
You know what I love doing? Something that I love when I'm seeing trends happen, and is it a fad
Mm-hmm.
or is it something here to stay? I try to do
Mm-hmm.
something different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That way, it's not like where I'm following that trend. I'm gonna do
Right.
something a little bit different or flip it around.
Right.
Rewind.
Rewind.
Mhm.
Rewind.
And then you authenticate
And
yourself.
then you authenticate yourself, and it's done just like that,
Yeah.
y'all. So with that being said, I'm Tabitha Pittman, and
And I am Tara Isaac.
we are TNT.
TNT.
It sounds like dynamite
because
because
it
it
is.
is.